Welcome to Breaking Barriers. You know your path. We know the obstacles, and we can teach you how to tear them down. And now your host, CEO and founder of Adapting Social, John Vigero.
All right, guys, welcome back to Breaking Barriers. I'm very pumped today. This is a podcast that I have been anticipating and stoked for. With me on the different couches we have here, we got my guy Sean Grevy, 43 Oak, founder. Are you founder and CEO or president? What are you, Prez or CEO?
I mean, whatever you want to call me this morning, we can call me that. Yeah, we'll go with CEO. That's fine. I like CEO. I'm feeling CEO-ish today. Yeah, I like the Prez. Yeah, we can go Prez. Yeah.
All right, we got Prez in the building. Then we got my guy Gary Newman, the head of stream at 43 Oak. Yep. Super stoked to have you here today.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Absolutely. And so, listen, my biggest thing and wanted to have you guys on, obviously, first and foremost is that like so much is changing in advertising because of AI and because of all these different things. And listen, ultimately, outside of AI, there's also so much that's changing because of Gen Z, millennials, and now what Gen Alpha is going to like and not like in social. And when they're driving, like it's predicted that in the next few years, there's not going to be vehicles that are going to be driven by humans anymore, right? Like they want to build completely autonomous vehicles and stuff. So like that makes it way more it makes it better for billboards, right? Like when people are just chilling, because now I'm not driving. Now I'm sitting here and I'm like just chilling on my phone or doing whatever I want to do, and I'm just taking it all in now, right? So there's so much to talk about in that space. But before we get to that, I have to say, my guy Sean said he loves espresso shots. So we're gonna fire up some espresso shots. We're gonna do a couple of shots together before we get going.
No, that was my Italian doppelganger that said that. It was not me.
But one of the there's a few things. Like I said, we're gonna talk about the future of advertising, what we're seeing, what we're doing. But I also want to first start with, I think one of the most important things, right? Which is like the journey that it took you guys to get to where you are, right? So if somebody's seeing this and just sees like, obviously these two dudes, who are successful, there's a lot more behind the scenes than just that, right? And so for people who are like, yo, who the hell is Sean? We'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about you. How the hell did you get started in this space of doing, this traditional media?
Yeah, well, I was following a hockey career that I thought would take me to the NHL, and I made it pretty far. But at the end of the day, I realized after 9 concussions, it was probably the road that I wasn't going to go down. And I learned a lot from the game, so I'm grateful for that. But at that time, when I was about 16. And considering my options, I started working while I was in high school, and I took a job working for an advertising company. And the job was, I don't even know if you could call it advertising, because really it was just cold calling. Locked in a room, 250 calls a day. And the weird part for me was like I was in a room with 10 people.
Right. And Sean was calling and saying, you want to extend your warranty?
Yeah.
Do you want solar on your house?
No, but these guys were all bitching about cold calling, and I'm like, yeah, this sucks, man. I hate this shit. But like, actually, I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like I was vibed. Like I wanted to get going. Like I wanted more calls. I wanted 300, 350. It was like a competition for me.
Right.
And I realized that I was translating hockey to now working, right? It was just
like
another competition. And I wanted to destroy every guy in the room. And I wanted to bring in business for the company. Really, that wasn't the job they wanted me to do.
Right.
But I was taking the cold calls a step further, and it got to a point where I was actually not just setting meetings, but I was actually closing the deal on the phone so that when their salespeople would go in, the deal was done. And I was taking a lot of pride in that, getting it to that point, to take somebody from cold to hot.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know what I was doing. Like I was just like being me,
right.
But I also was at the time I was selling something that I believed in.
Right.
I had worked for a couple sales companies through the years, and quickly, if I don't believe in the product, I'm out.
Yeah.
Right? I just can't lead. I lead with passion.
You can't sell with something that you don't.
Yeah,
like
I lead with passion and heart, and I have to be a trustworthy person. You can't. I don't care like how much of a BS artist you are. Eventually, you get found out, and I can't be out here pushing stuff that I don't believe in. I'll just
Facts.
never do that. So that's how I got into the game, and
I respect
here
that.
I am 20 years later, and still working in advertising. So just
What
different
I
degree.
like about your story, though, that was his humble version of it. But what I like about your story, though, is obviously you had a tough upbringing, and you didn't get things handed to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the one thing for me. I know you and I vibed on that, separately, but that for me is like the core of why I love business and entrepreneurs, and then obviously podcasts, because it's like this for me, for the record, like somebody said to me like, dude, you're on this agency, you're super busy, like why the fuck are you doing this podcast? And I'm like, yo, this is like my AA meetings. I could sit down with other founders and like other business owners and talk about like real shit. And like I think most people in the world that we all respect have been through some shit. Like it's rare you respect somebody who has had a silver spoon in their mouth and a gold up their ass. Like it's typically like, yo, like that dude had a fucking tough go at it. Tough cards that were dealt to this dude, and look what he made of himself. And that's what I think about when I think about your story.
It's funny that you said AA meeting, because when I was a kid, and I won't say who in my life, but there was somebody in my life that was very close to me that was in recovery and is now 30 plus years recovered. So
God bless. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I used to actually, I was taken to those meetings as a kid, and I would sit in these rooms, and these were hardcore meetings. These weren't like
Just grab donuts and coffee and talk.
Well, it's not like we were doing these meetings in like Bucks County. This was North Philly, Northeast Philly, which is where I grew up. And truly grew up proper, Philly proper, not a Philly kid who says he's from Philly, but really from Delco, but grew up in Philadelphia, And these meetings were gritty, man. But what I learned in that as a young kid was like, here I am sitting at a young kid thinking maybe my life is semi-difficult. And then I listen to these stories from people in these rooms, and I'm like, holy smokes, like my life is not anything compared to these.
These guys are going through
it. So like when you say like I tell my humble version, the reason I do that is because I don't always feel like my story is any different or worse than other people's. Though I do understand that it can be inspiring. Right?
Dude, yeah.
And I find inspiration from other people's stories. It's just when you go through those things, sometimes it's hard to talk about because you don't want people thinking you're sitting on the couch here saying, poor me, poor me.
Right.
I just went up, got out and did it, right? And never really thought twice about it. And now I get to look back and have that perspective of like, okay, like, yeah, I did overcome some pretty crazy things.
Yeah.
That, I could probably do 27 podcasts and not get it all out.
Right.
But I think that correlation was really on point because I think about that as a kid. And,
dude, this is the thing, right? Like my biggest belief, I heard this when I was real young, in church. I heard this when I was young. But this guy was essentially saying at this priest at this Catholic church I was going to back in the day, he was like, listen, he goes, so many of you go through some real shit, like in his own, he didn't say that, but he's like, you guys go through some tough times, and some people are super successful and they hide it. Some people have been through some tough times, they hide it. But what you don't understand, there's a young kid out there right now,
needs to hear it.
Or even an older person who's in the middle of a road somewhere, in their life at a fork. And they're like, yo, damn, Sean or Gary or John went through X, Y, and Z. Like if they did, I could do it, right? But outside of that, the unpopular side of it too is when you have success, right? And it's like I remember when I started making a little bit of money because I grew up not like well off at all. Like that's why I started the business. And so when I like started to make a little bit of money, like I would always like kind of downplay shit, right? Like, and my friends would be like, yo, that's crazy. Like you're doing this, you're doing that, or you got that watch, or you're doing whatever. And I was, I grew up, not like humble beginnings. So like when I made some money, I would want to go do stuff, but I was hiding it. And I remember this guy was like essentially saying this, and my takeaway from it was like, yo, like the people around me at that time, whether it was my family, my friends, whatever, like that I was worried about them being like, damn, John's doing good and I don't want them to feel bad because I'm doing good and they're not. But at the end of the day, if you're being like your true self and you're showing them like, yeah, like, listen, I'm working hard and I like this car or I like this, vacation or I like this, whatever that is for them that makes them happy and wants to do what they want to do, that's going to motivate them in another way, right? Like, don't be braggy, right?
Yeah,
but like,
no, never.
But yeah, like this is like John's living a certain. I'll never forget this. Like the most recent home that me and my wife bought, our forever home. Like there are 4 people in my life that were I've known for over a decade that like we're in a Latip group. You ever hear that?
Oh yeah.
So back in the day, like I didn't have much going on. I was in this Latip group, and these four dudes who I still talk to. One was a chiropractor. One was a fucking a pest control service, and then one was a pool guy. And when I moved into the house, they came. They're like, "Yo, damn, John, like this motivates me. Like the fact that you did this, because like, I remember you back in Latip, dude. This is crazy." And it's like shit like that. Not enough people like are comfortable doing. Like my wife is super conservative, so she's like she every truck I've ever bought, like my G-Wagons all the way through the Rangers. Like, why the fuck do you have this car? Just go get a fucking regular car. You don't need it, right? And it's like, and she's right to an extent, right? But like at the end of the day, for me, it's like I also have people who are watching me, and I want them to be like, yo, I know that John came from nothing, and he did it with the good help of people around him. I'm definitely nobody's self-made, right? Yeah, everyone around you help you, but with all that said, I wanted to bring that up because again, you have a really good story, and I think that like when you think about your upbringing into what you've built for yourself now and for your daughter now, like that's crazy. Because what Gary and I kind of talked about on a previous podcast that we had was like the legacy of being like a father and like what you grew up with and what you went through and what you said, hey, I'm not doing this when I have kids, and and I had this fucking self-realization. Like actually, like not so long after we had that podcast, where I was like, "Damn, yo, I'm exactly the father I needed when I was a kid, right now for my kids." And I'm the man. Like if I saw myself like walking down the street when I was a kid, super anxious, worried about my parents, the whole financial crap, whatever, I would be like, "Damn, that guy is a fucking G," you know. But like, and that's the person I am now, and like that's who you guys are too.
And it comes down, I think, to what it comes down to two things: authentic and mentorship, right? So if you're authentic with who you are and you're passing that on to other people, that's the key.
Yeah,
I think.
I love it, man. And I just want to say one thing for anybody that's watching this, that's younger, older, whatever the hell, and you're going through some stuff like this, or you're going through some tough times. We live in a kind of crazy world at the moment where, like, again, people are worried about AI taking their jobs. People, like, it's been a weird economy. It's been tough with money. Everything's expensive. And the one thing that I love about this panel, I'll call it right now, is that like, everybody here has built something out of nothing, meaning like it was an idea, right? And you just got after it and you just did it. Like you said something on when we were both on, I think, Lawrence's podcast. You were like, yo, playing hockey, I was like, one of the smaller guys out there. So I had to really I had to earn my keep. Like I had to get after it, right? And that's a mindset, that's a mentality, right? Like people get their asses kicked. They get up and like, I'm not doing this again. Why would I put myself through this? But you had that mentality. So, I think the biggest thing is like things that seem like they're so unattainable are only if you set yourself up that way, And there was this one study that this guy did where he drew with a Sharpie marker a circle around spiders, right, on a piece of paper. And the spiders went up to the edge of the line. And they were like, oh shit, I can't cross this. And they kept closing in on the spider. So eventually it was so tight that the spider couldn't move. And it accidentally, one of the spiders went over it and realized, oh shit, this is not a real boundary. Like this is just on the paper.
Interesting.
And then ever since they did that, they put it in a bunch of different things and it would never ever be captured in that boundary again. And so many people mentally do that to themselves. They're like, yo, whether it's, I can't do that, I don't have enough money, or like my family has this, or like I have this thing that I can't do. Like, it's so many things that hold us back that are fake limitations. The people who get shit done are people who are like, I'm willing to figure out what's on the other side of that line. You know what I mean?
And that's, I think one of the big pieces of my story, right? Like when I was a teenager, had massive anxiety and dealt with depression, right? Like, and until you take the time to, break through that, which I felt I did through, 10 years of therapy, meditation, learning all of those things, and freeing my mind from the barriers I was placing on myself, but it also has to come from you. You have to want it.
You got to want it,
you have to want to push past it and put in the work day in and day out, and then you can experience that.
I fucking love that you said that, Garrett, for the fucking win. Head of streaming here, 43 Oak, baby. But one thing that I will say, though, on that topic, though, dude, is that, like, perfect example, and Emily, like, I fucking I ramble too much. I'm doing all the talking here, boys. I
You're
gotta
good.
pass the mic.
You're good.
But on that topic, because mental health is a big thing, dude. Is like more people need to realize how strong meditation and like you building your own mental is. Because like everybody, if I said to us all right now, like, yo, how do I get abs? You'd be like, yo, go do crunches. Like, or don't be a fat ass.
Right.
But it's like, if it's like, yo, how do I get my mental? Like people are like, like don't drink, or like they'll give you certain things, or go take Xanax or whatever. But it's like you focusing and being intentional about your mental health that's the muscle building. And that's what I had to learn recently.
It's the same as building abs, right? Like it's hey, I'm gonna be diligent and disciplined about taking 10 minutes out of my day and doing meditation and being intentional about that. And it's the same. Yeah. It's just you're exercising your brain instead of your abs.
Facts.
6-minute abs.
6-minute abs.
Remember that? So, was it something about Mary?
It was.
He picks up the hitchhiker. It's Ben Stiller.
Yeah. He's fucking
What
great,
about
dude.
8-minute abs? No, man. 6 minutes.
But so shifting gears for a sec. So what are you guys seeing? Well, actually, I'll change to you now since I asked Sean that
Hold
first.
on, I'm going to say something.
Yeah.
Before we get off this topic,
Yeah.
I think the most important part of everything that you guys just talked about is fearlessness. So for me, like, I understand there are consequences to every action. I think the difference is between me and a lot of other people is I'm willing to face the consequences, whatever they may be.
Because I understand. Hold on, this is getting good.
Yeah. I understand that the consequences, they may not always be good consequences. I'm never going to do anything that's going to put myself in a position where I'm hurting other people. That's not a consequence I'm willing to face.
Unless it's on the ice, baby.
Oh, on the ice.
Unless it's on the ice,
Get
baby.
the hell out of my way. You know what I mean? You touch my goal, you're in trouble. But no, but I'm never going to do anything to hurt anybody. But when it comes to self-consequences and having to face decisions that I make that may have been failures, I'm good with it because the failure is going to take me to a place where ultimately I'll win. But yeah, that fearlessness for me, to this day, I mean, God, I've done so much. I've lost so much. I've been through so much. I've lived in a goddamn car for a year. So it's hard to look at decisions. Somebody told me a long time ago that a decision is just a decision. It's not a good decision. It's not a bad decision. It's just the decision that you make. And it's going to take you, it's the vehicle to take you to where you're going next. And, you know, for me, like, it's hard for me to look at a decision and say, should I, shouldn't I? Like, no, if my heart is in it and that's what I want to do, then I'm going to do it.
Right.
And I'm going to let the cards fall where they may. But if I'm feeling that strongly about it, that passionate about it, and I sit here and preach that I lead with passion, well, what kind of preacher would I be if I didn't continue to lead with that same passion? What, just because I had a little bit of success, because I caught a little bit of fire, now I'm going to stop?
Right.
Now I'm going to stop taking chances? No, I'm going to continue to take chances. I'm going to continue to, you know, push the barrier and try to break through, you know, certain molds and be the spider that crosses over the line.
Yep.
Thing is, I don't really see the line. I don't really give a shit about the line.
Right.
The line might be there. The line might be a goddamn cliff.
Right.
I'm still going to cross the fucking line.
Right.
Because I believe that on the other side of that line, I can get there. And, you know, I think the people who don't cross those lines are the same people who worry about what other people think about them.
Dude, you just opened up a whole another can of worms, because
you can't do that.
I love what you just said there, because also, what's the consequence of you not taking action?
There's major consequences. Consequences.
Both sides of that decision have consequences.
The consequences is you're born, you live, and then you die.
Right.
And nobody remembers you.
Right.
What's your legacy? What'd you do? People talk about legacy. Well, what is your legacy? What did you do? Well, like, what did you do? For me, my legacy, if my daughter can grow up and at 30 years old be proud of her father and say that I did good things and that I helped people and that I was a success in life and that I was a good father, that's the only legacy I need.
Amen.
Everything outside of that, I mean, listen, yeah, like the foundation work we do, phenomenal. Like, yeah, I'm sure we'll be remembered to some degree for that kind of stuff.
Right. It's your
But
kids.
really, at the end of the day, my daughter is the only one I care about remembering me forever, right?
Facts,
she's
dude.
got to be the one to keep that going. So that's the legacy for me, and I'm not
Love
going to
that.
stop doing what I do because some guy I don't even know or care about thinks about what I do. Like, it really makes no difference to me.
Fuck them.
Fuck them. Yeah, who are you? You know. So
yeah, I love that big time, Sean. And I think when I think about all that, I think that's the key. Is like everybody, like, it's the same when people say like, hey, I got this idea or I want to do this thing or whatever, and they don't do it, they don't take action on it because they're worried, they're scared, they're fearful of what could happen if they fail. It's like, well, the consequence of not doing that is whatever you're currently doing, you're just going to keep doing forever.
Correct.
Right? So them taking that action is big. But I appreciate you bringing that up, man. That's great. Now, but in the advertising, let's switch gears for a second.
Yeah.
So in advertising, what are you seeing on your side, Gary, that is like super new? And like you and I spoke about this a little bit the other day, where like so many people are so uneducated on CTV, and like when you talk to people about like, hey, like I'm gonna put up a commercial, like a lot of people like if they see you on like, you know, a day that the football game is on or like whatever, like on like after Shark Tank or whatever the hell, it's like, damn, he must have paid 50 G's for this, for that one spot. Like everyone thinks like it's so crazy expensive. What are you seeing, and what are some of those types of things that you can kind of like debunk?
Yeah, I think, you know, the thing with TV is a lot of people are used to, you know, what we call like the traditional or linear model, right? Where you say, hey, you know, I want my spot in Monday Night Football. I want my spot on The Real Housewives. And, you know, that was the way that
It used to work.
it used to work. When I started in TV and I worked for CBS, you know, I sold the NFL on CBS and all those things. Streaming is different because you're essentially buying data.
Right.
And the vehicle for using that data is TV.
Right.
So if I'm a local HVAC company and I want to target homeowners with a certain household income that I want my brand in front of, because when they have an issue with their heater, I want them to call me. You're buying homeowners with a household income of $150,000, not Monday Night Football.
Right.
Monday Night Football is just a means of getting to them.
Yep.
And so it's a deterministic way of reaching them, as opposed to saying, I think the NFL is, you know, a high indexing area where I can reach those people. It's no, we're going to buy a data set that you're going to reach these people.
Right.
And then the content may be Monday Night Football, it may be the local news, it may be the Real Housewives.
Yeah, it makes sense. That's a good way to look at it, because you're right. Most people are looking at like, I like the thought of people seeing me beyond that sports channel versus like what you're buying actually that's tuning into the sports channel.
Yeah. And then the second piece of it is the measurement piece of it, which is, you know, I think Sean would attest to this, is the biggest part of it, right?
Yeah.
You run, you know, yes, there's ways that you could, in theory, measure a traditional TV spot, but connected TV streaming, it allows you to actually, it's all internet enabled, so it allows you to actually track a household, map the devices in the household, so once they've seen that ad, be able to then track that journey afterwards, and see if they, you know, actually went to your website and filled out a form, or, you know, things like that.
Dude, those I've seen some interactive ones now that are like insane. Like my wife, I'm not a big TV guy. I don't like to watch TV that much, but my wife, like if she's watching Hulu, I forget which channel she's watching, but she was watching one of these streaming ones, and it was like, click the next one to watch fucking Chloe on Progressive do this, or, you know, do a backflip, and this guy, it's like, whoa, like, you know, it's like not like just sitting there and watching a commercial anymore. Now you can engage in it. Obviously, the QR codes for trackability are fucking awesome too. So there's so much more, not only data, but I feel like there's so much more action that can come out of it now too.
Yep,
As opposed, because I remember in the past, like 17 years ago when I was starting, I remember people being like, oh, like it's so expensive. And the clients that I did have that were on TV were like, I never know where it's coming from. I don't know how, like if it's coming from it. So it's cool that the world we live in now, that's very like, you know, you can tell.
For sure. And, you know, the interactive stuff is great. I would say the biggest thing that does is just drive engagement, as opposed to, you know, just that standard ad unit. You know, one of the things that we're doing a lot of testing around right now is pause ads, because that's, you know, a very different experience than your standard commercial. But yeah, that's the beauty of streaming.
Love it. And then on your side with the boards, so obviously, like, you know, what are you seeing any? I mean, like, what's changing for boards right now? Like, is there anything you're seeing majorly different? Same stuff? Like, you know, what are you seeing? Because I know, like, since when I think of boards from the dawn of time, like, I feel like the purpose of them is like, hey, you like, whether you're driving by in a horse and carriage seeing a Coca-Cola billboard, or you know, you're fucking, you know, driving now, you know, in a car, you know, it's there, it's brand recognition, right? So like, is there anything you're seeing that's different?
So I'm gonna put a PSA out to every business owner in the world right now.
Beep, beep.
Whoever you deal with, whether you're buying directly, which if you're spending any decent amount of money, you should not be buying your media directly. And I don't care if you use us or not. Go find an agency to work with. It's not your job to buy media. Your job is to run your business. So, like, leave the expert work to the experts. But if you want to buy your own media, fine. My PSA is this. When you want to talk about billboards, please do not get on the phone with a billboard rep or your agency and ever ask them how you can determine if a billboard is working and driving results. You're wasting your time. If you don't understand the concept of a billboard, don't waste your time on a billboard. If you want to press your salespeople on what the billboard is doing for your business, don't waste your time, because you're going to get the same answer every time. You need to go into a billboard buy with the same understanding that business owners in the 1920s went into with. It is a brand equity driver. It will build validity and trust within the consumers that you want to interact with. We can run advertising with other forms of media, like with what Gary does, that will drive direct results. If you want direct results, that's the form of media you do. If you want to build your brand and you want people to know who you are, and when you walk into the grocery store and somebody says your business's name and they say, oh, I know who they are, billboards are the way to do it. And as long as cars are not flying on the road, which they won't be anytime soon. I mean, it's great. They're driving themselves, so I don't know how long it's going to be, but I think a lot's going to have to happen for cars to fly on the road. When they do, we can revisit the conversation of, does a billboard work?
Right.
But right now, we're going to stay in the here and now. And the here and now is that for the last 100 years, billboards have always worked exactly the same. What happens is this. You put a billboard on the highway, you put it close to the road. When a car gets close to the billboard, they're close to visibly seeing whatever your ad is.
Right.
If you buy a billboard that's close to traffic, more than likely at a clog point, you're going to see that billboard for a little bit longer.
Right.
Time and time again, if your commute is 5 days a week or 3 days a week, you're going to see that billboard, and eventually that brand is going to get known within that consumer's mind.
Right.
Then we're going to hit them with an ad on streaming TV. We're going to geofence the billboard that same person passed, and then we're going to serve them an ad on Hulu.
Right.
Then we're going to get the direct result. Right. Then I can tell you, hey, that person saw your ad, went to your business, because Gary can give you that attribution.
Yep.
But what a billboard will never do is give you attribution. So don't expect it. Don't waste your time.
Right.
Understand that the biggest brands in the world utilize billboards because they work, not because they don't work. They don't have some kind of secret sauce. Macy's isn't getting any different attribution on billboards than your local brand is. It's just that Macy's understands that they're building Macy's, the store that everybody goes to when they want to buy clothes.
Right.
It's a brand that we trust. It's a brand that we know. It's a brand that we know the clothes are going to be good at. And so at the end of the day, understand that with billboards, you're buying brand validity and brand equity. And that's the important part for people to understand.
What does that say under that picture?
Kids everywhere. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. People.
So this right here, obviously, we'll edit this in later. But like one of the boards that we have up right now, we have a couple of boards up with Sean right now, and it's like I just get texts all day.
Yeah.
Right. Like like just get hit up like, yo, dude, that sort of thing. Even people I don't talk to. It's funny.
Yeah.
I was sitting there at a restaurant with my wife. Somebody I don't know comes up to me and they go, "Are you that dude on the billboard over in Brielle?"
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And we just started a conversation. Blah, blah, blah. But so to your point, and on my side, obviously being a client and also and a partner and stuff, one of the things that I looked at, like I never did billboards before, right? And I have had clients that have done boards and shit like that over the years. And I was like, we came to a point, obviously, like when I met you through Jamie, I was like, I think this is my time to like test this. Like, like I've seen it. And I always look at, like, in New Jersey, if you think about, like, the two powerhouses historically, it was, like, E. Clean Bro and then Rob Dukansky and some other people.
Correct.
But it's like, when you think about Rob Dukansky as a quick example, right? Like, I'll never forget this. So my wife does our real estate deals, right?
Okay.
So, like, anytime like, we buy, like, an investment property, like, she's not an agent. Like, if you were like, yo, I'm looking to buy a house, she's not the one.
Yeah.
Like, it's only our shit.
Yeah.
But her mom's friend, one time before COVID too, so it wasn't like when people just wanted to buy houses all the time. Before COVID, like, hit up Jacqueline, and her mom was like, listen, my friend wants to sell her house. They don't want to use an agent. They trust you.
Yeah.
Can you please just do this for them? And so she was like, all right. A few months in, obviously the house was just sitting there, right? Like, she's not Rob Dukansky or like these other real estate agents.
Yeah.
She's not out there marketing with signs and social. So they sat her down. They go, listen, like, you know, we're considering using Rob Dukansky because, like, he guarantees he's going to sell your home.
Your home sold guaranteed.
Right. And so what were consumers saying that this motherfucker was putting up on billboards? The exact verbiage. Mm-hmm. And so, to your point, and a little bit further, I think the thing is, it's a combination of the fact that, like, that's why I always said, I was like, listen, if I'm going to do something with you, I don't want to do one. Like, I know it's not going to be worth it to me. I have boards in 3 different towns right now, and I have 3 different groups of people and business owners that are hitting me up that are like, yo, I was driving off the Parkway, got off the Parkway in Wall, and I saw you at the Circle, then I saw you by the ShopRite, then I saw you in Tom's River. Like, what the fuck's going on here? You're blowing up? Like, and it's starting those conversations. And so my point, though, is, like, I think to your point, yes, very simply put, like, a board is going to be there so people think about you and your brand when they want to make that consumer decision eventually. But it also makes you, like, if you only do one billboard, don't expect anything. That's my thing, right? Like, if you have a couple, like obviously, you know, people are like, damn, this guy's everywhere. So anyway, nonetheless, I showed you one text. I have a bunch of DMs. I get tagged in a bunch of shit, like all that stuff. And the one thing, oh, this is it. This is gonna be good for you, actually. We're gonna have to talk about this after. I'm gonna coin this.
Okay.
Because when you think about social media, right?
Yeah.
Any jamoke can go on social media now.
Yeah.
And look like a king. Anybody can go throw up a Google ad.
Yeah,
Anybody can go through Facebook ads.
Opinion. Right.
But not everybody can put up billboards because they cost money.
Right. True.
Right. So if I'm sitting there driving, so when I'm driving,
make a note while you're talking.
When I'm driving, right, and I see a board or this guy, like I see, like, people are seeing my board all over the place, they're like, yo, that's legit. Because social media and that type of stuff, especially just posting content or running ads on social, like, there's ways to do it accurately and to make a lot of money doing it. Obviously, that's what I do. But if you see a social ad, you're not like, yo, damn, this is pretty fucking cool. Like, when you're on a board, that's a different level, especially now. The validation of being on a board versus just being on an ad is very different.
TV and billboards build trust and credibility in a way that social media can't. And listen,
facts.
Social media can deliver ROI, and it can be an extremely effective, but the trust, the credibility, and those pieces live in those mediums, in my opinion.
No, you're right. And it looks like you look like, I'll just use it from this terminology, like, you look like a G, right? Or you look like you're in the big leagues, because that's the big league space. Because anybody, like, again, like, you know, perfect example, like, you know, with E Clean Bro with Jamie, right? I think I told you this case study we did them, but with $1,800, we made him $85,000 in 1 week. $1,800, 85 G's, tracked, made that money for him, right? That's on Facebook ads and Instagram ads. Great. But when you look at, like, somebody who, again, especially like in my business, who's a service industry, right? If somebody goes by and they're like, yo, I'm interviewing all these other agencies, but I see this fucking company that says they guarantee better leads, and I keep seeing this guy everywhere, you know, it gives you a different level, like you're saying, of notoriety.
So let me ask you a question. So just take a step back there.
Yeah.
Talk about Eat Clean Bro. And how much was it? What was the
$1,800 turned into 85 G's.
85 G's. All right. And that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And that's what John does.
Yeah.
And I can attest to what John does because we work together. So I don't care if I'm on your podcast or not. You're good at what you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
You have clients that'll tell people that you're good at what you do. I don't need to tell people that you're good at what you do. Your work speaks for itself. But let me ask you a question. So we all work together, right? TV, billboards. Well, I'm not just billboards. I'm an agency, but but I'm the guy who does the billboards in the agency, right?
Yeah.
Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
So, and everything else, right? I look at you as everything else: content, digital.
Right.
I mean, what don't you do, right? Do you think that within that 1,800, the interaction that you were able to get was a result of the brand equity and validity that had already been built with Eat Clean Bro in the marketplace?
100%.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
One works off the other, works off the other.
Fucking 100%.
You can't
It's
do
synergy.
one.
It's synergy.
You can't do one. You got to do it all.
Right.
And
And
so
I think that's another big thing for business owners is stop looking at your marketing channels as all individual.
Yeah, no, you can't.
And pitting them up against
You
each
can't.
other.
You
Where
can't.
hey, billboard's got to produce X, CTV, streaming's got to do Y, social got to do X. It is measuring the consumer journey and looking at what are going to be the most impactful moments as a complete marketing ecosystem.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
going to drive business results.
now listen. There are plenty of people in this world that catch fire and make money off not knowing shit about what they're actually doing, and people just buy in. And you
Right.
could probably sit here and listen to the three of us talk and say, I could do what they do. I don't
Yeah.
need these three guys. They're just a couple of guys wearing suits or polos or whatever and doing their thing and
Yeah, I
crushing
mean,
life, right?
I'm just.
Gary
I'm
thought about
chilling,
not
man.
wearing a shirt at all today, so I don't know.
we got lucky.
But listen,
I asked if we could activate skins mode before the podcast
at
started.
the end of the day, as an agency owner, and to be clear, what I do is I help businesses not only buy their media, but also plan it strategically. Plan what it is that they need to do with the budget that they have and the demographic that they need to reach. My job is to find the right avenues for the client, right? At the end of the day, if I don't find you the right avenues, you're not going to use me. So me being married to a form of media or a company that sells that media makes absolutely no sense. So at the end of the day, the reality is I don't give a shit what that company has to sell, what that salesperson's offering.
Right.
If that guy took me to a Knicks game, it doesn't matter to me. I don't
Right.
care. I care about, is it the best price? Is it the best location? Is it the best form of media for the client?
Yeah.
And does it all work together? And so when I say you could sit here and look at the three of us and say, I can do that. You can't do that. You cannot do that. I promise you, you cannot do all of these things by yourself, okay? So just get that out of your head. It's not that easy. I promise you. Just with billboards alone, not even talking about what these two do. With billboards alone, there are so many factors to consider. Where is the board placed? What does the traffic look like? What is the price? What is the messaging on the board? Does that messaging relate with the people in that market? These are things that have to be analyzed and considered that you can't just do on your own. That relationship in me getting you that billboard at the 40, 50% off rate of what it should cost. You can't do that. You don't have the buying power that I do. All due respect.
Which I will add to that though, and I will say that what you got me those boards for was a fucking home run.
Yeah.
Because in the past, obviously, people have circled me like years before I met you, and I remember like considering at one point and like your prices below, and that was years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like obviously, you know what you're doing. You have negotiation power.
Listen.
You have inventory power.
At the end of the day, if I catch a case, okay, me, Sean Grevy,
Yeah.
I catch a case, I'm not walking into the courtroom and representing myself.
No.
Okay? I'm not going to do it. Do I think I could study a law book and maybe learn a couple things and sound good? Maybe. Could I stand in front of a judge? Absolutely not.
Right.
I need an attorney and a good one.
Right.
Okay? If
Well,
I need
actually,
to
you could,
right?
but you want to win.
Wait. Ready?
gotta call the
yeah.
fucking-
And guess what? If I
Call
need to
GGL.
if I need to sell my house, all due respect to your wife, she does your stuff, right?
Right.
So then they brought her on, she didn't get, and then they wanted to go to who? Rob, the guy with the billboards, right? Because they believed in what he was saying,
Right.
and he's an expert. Then they went to Rob. They probably moved the house because Rob moves houses like that's
Boom.
what they needed to do, right? So
right.
we use the experts because they're the experts,
Facts.
right? And they believe in what they do, but also use the people who believe in themselves and have the credibility and the established client base that can back up what they're doing. And, you know, the last thing I'm going to say, and then because I know we're limited on time here, I want to go back to something else.
Yeah.
When I started my business,
Yeah.
I was the first year. It was tough. I mean, it was tough.
Dude, sales first year is always
I'm
grind.
I'm like trying to make just enough money to live, and I don't have money in my, And then I closed this piece of business, right? And they wrote me a lump sum check, and I think it was like $100K, right?
Oof.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, shit, man. I had like $2,500, that I'm trying to bet at Parks Casino to like double down. You know what I mean?
Parlay.
But it was like with 100K.
Parlay this into the rest of my life.
Yeah, exactly. I'm worried about like them taking my car and shit. Next thing I know, I wake up in the morning and I got a meeting that day. I'll never forget. I had a meeting that day, and it was a meeting that I normally would have went to stressed because I need to close the business. Gotta do it. I woke up and I opened my bank account and I saw the $100K in there, and I went, all right, let's go do this. And I walked into that meeting, and I didn't care if they bought or didn't.
Different level of confidence.
I believed in what I was doing.
Right.
I knew I was good at what I was doing. And guess what? Now I had the money that I didn't need them.
Right.
So all due respect to anybody out there, I'm not saying I don't need you.
Right.
What I'm saying is work with people who don't need you but want you because they know they can do a good job for you.
Boom, 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 boom. I want to.
And me and Sean, I can test it. Me and Sean have sat on calls and walked off.
Oh, we have walked off a lot of calls. And not to be jerks, I hope my demeanor today isn't taken as me being some kind of hard guy or like I'm too good for this. It's not about that. I care. Trust me, I care. I want to win. If you bring me on your business, I'm going to crush it. But I'm certainly not going to beg to be on the business. We should want to work together, because if you don't want to work with me, trust me, I don't want to work with you. And at the end of the day, if we don't want to work together or one doesn't want to work with the other, well, guess what? This business is the same thing as relationships.
Right.
Would you date somebody that doesn't want to be with you? No,
Most
you
people
wouldn't.
do. Most people do.
Yeah, and then and guess what? Guess what? It ends.
There's some layers to
It
that.
ends. I'm just saying. But listen, at the end of the day, you got to work with people that want to work with you, and you have to want that client has to want you as well. And that's why Gary and I have walked off of calls, because maybe our values didn't align, or maybe we didn't like the tone of the conversation. And it wasn't like, hey, screw you, we're out of here. It was like, hey, look, you know what? I just don't think this is working out.
Right.
And we got to move on.
Dude,
and that's it.
Here's what I'll say. I think your attitude is one that is from somebody who is seasoned. And that's the key difference,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I'll never forget when I was pitching this one client, maybe 2012 or 2013. 2012 when the world was about to end. Remember that back in the day? It was like 2012.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I think it was like 2012, 2013. And I'm there, and this guy, to this day, is still our client. But I was like, dude, I needed the money, right? So I was like, dude, like, I'll do this, I'll do that, whatever. Like, you call me 24/7, whatever. He stopped me. He goes, yo, chill. He goes, you know how I know you're a young business owner? I'm like, how? He goes, because you make yourself available to me anytime. Mm-hmm. He goes, if you're a good business owner, he goes, I don't want my guy to be available all the time. Mm-hmm. I want you to be busy. Mm-hmm. I want you to be hitting the streets. I want you to be talking to this person on stage here, doing this, whatever. Like, that's the guy I want representing me. Right. So at the end of the day, that's why I like what you're saying, and I can resonate with that. Right. Because at the end of the day, like, when you're busy, and you're doing the right thing, and you're truthful and you're honest, and you have high integrity, and you get results, that requires, you to be a person who's not going to work with everybody. And that's okay.
And that takes us full circle, because that goes back to mentorship, right?
Correct.
Absolutely.
Right.
That guy telling you that early on helped you after that to not be the guy begging for the business or being there available all the time.
Facts.
Yeah, it's so crucial to also not push, right? And when you're seasoned, when you've been in the game and you have stuff going on, you're not going to push, because you don't need to push. My favorite thing is when I get on a call with a new client, somebody that's usually referred to me, because at this point, thank God, knock on wood, we're referred a lot of business, right?
No more 250 cold calls.
I mean, if I had, listen, the world ends, I can hit the phones. You know what I'm saying? I can do 500 in a day, no problem. It's easy for me, but I don't want to. But anyway, my favorite thing on calls is when I'm like doing a call and we go through all this different stuff, and then the guy goes, hey, but listen, man, like, I don't know, like, if I can do it right now, and I go, oh, stop, slow down. Whenever you're ready, bro. Yeah, and he's like, well, but like, I'll let you know in the next 2 weeks. I'm like, buddy, let me know in 2 years. I don't care. I'll be here when you're ready. I'm not going to sit here and I told you what we can do for you. I told you I can help. I'm your guy. When you need it, hit us up. If you don't need it, whatever. And they go, every single time, they go, wow, that's relieving. I feel like I'm not going to get 1,000 phone calls from you. I've said, you're not going to get a single phone call from me after this. You're going to call me when you're ready. You know what I'm saying? And that's got to be the mantra of how we all think and how we do business. Otherwise, if you're not getting that and you're getting that person's push, you got to really analyze why. Why are they pushing?
If you build enough value throughout the process, then you don't have to be the annoying person who's following up.
Right.
Because it'll come.
Totally. I do train my team to follow up until they die, or they tell us to fuck off.
There's nothing wrong. No. There's nothing wrong with There's nothing wrong with pleasant persistence.
Correct.
Wait, I got a good one though. Follow up. This is a great topic.
Yeah.
Following up is wonderful.
Adding
Let me be
value.
clear about the phone calls that I'm talking about them not getting from me.
Right.
I'm not calling you to talk about the same thing that I just talked to you about a week ago or a month ago. I'm calling you to genuinely ask you how your family's doing. I'm calling you to ask you what you've been up to. I'm calling you to go golfing. Not because I need your business, because I want to build that relationship.
Facts. And by the way, Sean came in and won Eat Clean Bros charity event. The golf outing.
I really won it though.
Yeah, he really won. He crushed it. Everyone was like, this guy didn't fucking win it. This guy, they were like,
who's on my team?
Yeah, I know. He had professional hockey players.
3
out there
NHL players.
swinging.
Of course, we won the tournament.
Yeah, they crushed it. Absolutely dominated it. But
that sounds about right for how Sean would approach a golf outing.
Everybody's like, he didn't shoot 21 under. I'm like, you're right. I didn't shoot 21 under. These 3 guys did.
Yeah. But with that said, as we come to a close here, one thing I want to just say on the topic of having professionals is when it comes to pros, okay, I want you to zoom in here, tune this in. We got to clip this too eventually. But the one thing I want you to understand, right, is everyone keeps. I had a conversation with Jamie the other night, and he goes, "Yo, I'm worried about like my friends who are in like advertising and like streaming and like software and like ads and stuff." He's like, because AI stands to take over take your lunch money and run with it, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, Jamie, but here's the thing. So there's a few things, right? One, you said it perfectly, right? Can somebody right now, today, go on ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok or whatever, Perplexity, and say, make me a social media content calendar for this week coming up? Or, hey, tell me how to run these ads. Tell me what works and doesn't work. Absolutely, they can do that with ChatGPT, right? But what you put into it, picture it as a funnel. What you feed that technology with is what your outcome is going to be. Yep. Somebody who is not an expert in streaming TV or in Google ads, in SEO, in social media, they are not going to be able to feed AI what it needs to get the results you want to yield, having an expert. So I said to Jamie, I got 17 years with like, if I was a decorated veteran, I'd be having things going all the way down to my fucking socks. and it's like, you want that guy or girl feeding that AI to help your business. Because it's at the end of the day, people look at AI in the future as like, oh, it's going to help me reduce some bills, right? I don't have to pay an agency anymore. I don't need Sean's expertise anymore or Gary's expertise anymore because now I can just go to fucking ChatGPT. And it's like, when you have that expert that puts those ingredients in that funnel, that's where the magic happens. But even to now, like Jeff Bezos just said the other day, he goes, we're in a AI industrial bubble, like the .com bubble. Like they overhyped it. It's not doing everything we think it could do just yet. He thinks it will in the future, but right now we're not there. And the point though is that that's the first thing. The second thing is when it comes to the future of branding, it's majorly going to change. Right now, maybe 40% of our social media feeds are AI content, right? Bullshit content, funny content, stupid content. I saw a bear run in somebody's house and attack a girl, and she made it out alive, and it was all AI, right? My point, though, is that one thing that I've learned about millennials and Gen Zs is that we get so tired of the same content that eventually we stop watching it. Jamie and I have the same core belief that we think that AI is going to tank social media in general. But I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but OpenAI and Johnny Ives, who's the person who designed all of the iPhones and iMacs and iPads for the past 20 years, he left Apple and now he's building the devices of the future, like phones and computers and stuff. And he goes, they don't have fucking screens. Mm-hmm. So what does that mean for a majority, right? Because I was having a conversation with Jamie, and I also had a conversation with somebody big up in Unilever, who's a client of ours, and I said, they were like, we think the future of brand building is what we did with Liquid IV, which is like super big brand, like, heavily invested in like quality content. And I said, dude, I don't know, because I don't know if I fully agree with that, because the future is, again, you have those shades. I have those shades too. I'm walking around with my kids taking pictures. I'm saying, hey, Meta, what's the weather? Hey, Meta, where's a good sandwich next to me? I'm not seeing shit. I'm having a personalized conversation
Meta
with
just
my.
told me the weather. Thanks for that.
I'm like
63 degrees today.
I'm like getting that information. So my point though is that the future of brand building is going to live also in GEO, generative engine optimization, right? You being able to do that, right? People are always going to be either in a car or driving and seeing boards. They're going to be watching TV. We're not going to not watch TV. And, but the way we consume social or news, that has the big potential to change. And that's like right now, like 90% of our clients in the 20 countries that we're in are ranking in ChatGPT ready, in Gemini, and getting suggested. And I got them ready early, because if somebody says, hey, I want the best Mexican food around me, or hey, what's the best hydration thing? I want my clients to be there from day one.
Yeah,
So-
Google is going after their own business with AI because they know that it's the future, right?
So-
True.
Which affects
They're
paid search.
cannibalizing
They're
their own business.
their own search model.
So,
Right.
so in no way, shape, or form, and I'll end on this from my part. In no way, shape, or form am I intimidated or affected or worried about AI. I think AI is great, by the way. I think there's some like really
use
cool.
it?
Yeah, I use it all the time. I use ChatGPT nonstop.
It's everybody's therapist.
Yeah, it's great. It is. Yeah. ChatGPT gives me too much info sometimes. But anyway, it's not that listen, I understand that there are some things that ChatGPT and AI in general will never be able to do in our industry, right?
Right.
So for example, and I'm not going to get into the details. You can call me if you want the details. What does a billboard on the New Jersey Turnpike cost per month? That's what I ChatGPT'd.
Right.
And the answer is, well, it depends, yada, yada, yada. Average bulletin board on the Jersey Turnpike is $5,000 to $12,000 per 4-week period.
Wrongo.
Nope.
Yeah.
Not with me. And I'm not just saying that. And by the way, I'm not the only one that can get it less than that. But what I'm saying is, that's not right.
But you better call Sean.
The reality is that there are just some things that AI will never be able to do.
True, yeah.
AI can't negotiate the way
Can't
we
have
do.
the relationship
AI
you do
can't
with your
lead with
colleagues.
passion.
Right.
Yes, AI can't bring those 17 years of decorated stars on your leg, right?
Right.
You just can't do it.
To the socks.
So right, to the socks, right. So AI is great. Let's use it for what it is. But at the end of the day, you do need this group of people, right? And I've been excited for this podcast too, because quite frankly, it's like we have a lot of different clients that should all be working together
True.
at this point, right?
True.
But it's like they need to know what we can all do together, because
True.
you're missing the boat on certain things.
Yeah.
And so what you do get with this is a collective effort, a collective group of people who really care and all work together instead of against each other. We're not fighting against each other for business. We're fighting together to get you the right business. And that's what you should be looking at. That's why you want a team of people that all know each other and work together. Because I'm not going to try to take off John's plate, and he's not going to try to take off mine. Same with Gary. We're all going to do the job together so that collectively we can all win. Because guess what? When we win on that one client, 10 more behind it.
Right.
We're all going to win, and you're going to win too, because we're all going to fight hard for you and get you the right deals and the right placement. So that's what we're here for, and that's what I'm most excited for with working with anybody you bring our way.
Hell yeah.
And I'm just excited to be on here with you and have the homie Gary here
Yep.
with no shirt. And,
Yep.
You know,
Big facts. And so all right, so we're coming to a close here. I'm gonna start with Gary and work my way this way. Luckily, Gary already had this conversation with me. But so legacy, what do you want your boys to remember Gary by? Because again, like Sean said it so fucking perfectly and eloquently, like nothing matters more than that, right? When it's all said and done, it's your family, it's your kids. They're gonna remember you. What do you want them to say when you're not in a room about Dad?
Yeah, and I think I touched on it a little earlier, but it's authenticity, right? Like, when I was raising my kids, did I do it in an authentic way? Did I do it in a way that was, where they can look back and say, like, I didn't feel like my dad was, full of shit, or didn't, give me what I needed when I needed it. Whether that's tough advice, whether that's being tough or giving them a hug, right? Like, whatever those key moments are, that it was authentic, I think is the most important thing.
Let's go. Love it. Sean,
you know
what do
what?
we want the daughter to be saying, thinking, again, and I gave Sean a little bit of a deeper, Gary, a little bit of a deeper experience with this question, but with you, I'm going to kind of try to do it real quick. With you, like, you have to picture this situation like you're not here anymore, right? It's your daughter, and she's talking to somebody who never met you, and she's like, my dad was like, this is the kind of guy my dad was. What would she say?
Yeah, my father was my best friend. My father tried every day to be a better version of himself. Every morning that he woke up, he understood that he wasn't perfect. None of us are perfect. But every day he tried to be a little bit better. Every day, if he did make a mistake, he came back the next day with a better result. And also, nobody's going to remember me for the billboards that I do, but they most certainly will remember the work that I've done in the nonprofit work in helping underprivileged and minority youth play the sport of hockey and ultimately further their education through the sport and change their lives.
Right.
A program that went from 5 kids to over 200 families nationwide in 5 years. A program that's 100% volunteer-based. A program that I take $0 from, actually put money into. A program that when I get older and I do die, the day that I'm gone, my daughter can take over and continue to grow and run.
Boom.
A program that my daughter can walk around and say, look what my daddy did. But even bigger than that, my daughter to be able to just say, my daddy loved me. I know my daddy loved me. I know that he put all of his effort and his love and his attention into being the best father that he could possibly be for me. Every time I was with him, he gave me all of his love. That's what needs to be remembered more than anything else.
I couldn't say it better myself for obviously my kids too. So I love that, Sean. Love that, Gary. I believe time is the one asset we don't get back. So you guys spending it here today with me means the world. Thank you both. Where can people find you guys? Websites, contact info, whatever, if they want to engage with you.
In the streets, baby, in the streets. Find me in the streets. You can find me on Instagram at 43 Oak, 43 Oak Advertising. Check out our foundation, 43 Oak Foundation. Or you could just, shoot me an email, sgrevy@43oak.com, the old school way. I'll respond, don't worry.
Boom.
We'll get back
Love
to you.
it.
G Newman at 43oak.com,
Yes.
LinkedIn,
LinkedIn,
Instagram, wherever.
Yeah.
Love it.
New
You
York.
got to be in all channels, right?
New York.
Well, it'll be everywhere. You got to be everywhere,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And obviously, you guys do the boards everywhere. It's not just tri-state. Like if somebody's in California sees this, they can still call you, right?
Listen, we're a nationwide company and in some cases international. So whatever you need, we can get it for you. It's not a problem.
National presence, local relevance.
Bam, baby.
Whoa,
Let's
what is
go.
that? I like that.
Let's go.
That's our new billboard.
Let's go.
This guy.
Guys, that wraps up this podcast. Super, super, super good podcast. We dove into tough upbringings, family, mental health, the effectiveness of traditional advertising and where it's going, where it's been, and just the powerhouse that's in this room right now when it comes to driving a brand and making more money, baby. That's what we do. We got Sean Grevy here. We got my guy Gary Newman here. This is the A team you want when you're serious and you want to make moves. This is the podcast you want to listen to if you want to level up your business. Give 43 Oak a shout. Go check them out. And guys, we are in the last quarter of 2025, which sounds so insane to me. But everybody that watches this, listens in regularly, all of our fans know I am crazy about sticking to the goals you set. It doesn't matter what happened in Q3 or Q2 or Q1. If you didn't hit them, you have another fucking quarter. Get dialed, get focused. You can move mountains in a few weeks. Nevertheless, we have a couple months here. So get after it, guys. Check 43 Oak out. Guys, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.